What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning at the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Lordi. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Oranos. He is calling himself Theris for whatever reason, but he is actually known as Tigerboss. Tigerboss the Great. Tigerboss the Powerful. Lordi the equally great and powerful. Normally we see Lordi playing Greek here, but he's trying out the Odin on this map. Obviously, Odin on Watering Hole, a very, very good choice. However, this is no schmuck, where Odin might be very, very strong against lower level Oranos players. When it gets to the higher levels, you've got to be good at Odin to a very big deal. So we'll see how this game is going to go, but Tigerboss, he's been having a fairly successful season. He managed to come second in the groups. This is the playoffs. It's the best of 5. Tigerboss had a very successful season, coming second in his group stage with a very, very tough group as well. Whereas I believe Lordi, I think, was the 4th seed in his group. Maybe 3rd seed. I can't exactly remember how the world works. But yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I'm interested to see what Lordi's going to come up with. Whenever you watch a kind of off Civ player, a player who plays off Civ, you end up seeing some like different things coming up, some different ideas coming out of the Odin player or the Zeus player playing Odin, where they're like, what if I could try and do this thing? Because you know it works with Zeus, or with Poseidon or with Hades. You're like, well, why don't I try that and see if I can make that work? And then you get some interesting games. So we'll see if Lordi's going to have any of those ideas up his sleeve, or if Tigerboss here is going to show him the business, so to speak. As a mana coming down for Tigerboss, I really need to institute a rule that says you have to play on the name you signed up with. Theris, Tigerboss, Theris, Tigerboss, Theris, Tigerboss. In before I get a comment saying, who's Theris? It's Tigerboss, guys. All right. So what are the game plan? What is the game plan here for Oranos against Odin? Well, if you've got yourself decent hunt in your base, like Tigerboss has here, you don't have to worry about the early game Odin harassment that normally comes. So you don't have to do anything tricky. You don't have to like get yourself the Heroice Oracles. You don't have to Valor them. You can just kind of play it slowly, sit in your base, and your opponent's not going to be able to do all too much. So what would you want to do? What's your best plan? Most likely double military barracks. Start off with Murmillo here and have a lot of success. As we see a pretty strange temple getting thrown down here by Tigerboss. Not sure what the plan is. Maybe he wants to wall this off to try and defend the hunt, make it tough for the Odin player to get through here. Not sure exactly. There is an opening. No, there is no opening there. There you go. There's no opening on that side. So this is going to be a very, very nice way to play for Tigerboss. We'll see if that actually blocks off the water or not. Never sure. Never know. With Freya coming through for Lordi. No surprises there. Prometheus coming through for Tigerboss. 6 villagers on food. 5 villagers on wood, 4 dwarves on gold. For those playing at home, this build will allow you to get a bunch of stuff out very, very fast, but without having that 7th villager on food, it tends to slow down a little bit of that production somewhat. So we'll see if you leave the villagers on wood. So you can leave 1 villager on wood here to just get yourself that little bit extra wood until you've got all the upgrades you want, and then you can move a couple of villagers over onto food afterwards to keep that production going nice and fast. As the Ravens scouting around, so I'm trying to find what they can kill here. Now, if Tigerboss does go for this kind of wall off here, there is still a possibility of just burning this tree down and completely opening all this hunt and being completely fine there. But it's a good idea nonetheless. It's a good idea nonetheless, as Prometheus does end up coming through. Military barracks coming down as well for Tigerboss, but he goes for a counter barracks here. Bit surprised to see that, as we got the longhouses coming down for Lordi, which is, there's no surprise there. He's got all the food in the world, all the gold in the world. He's still got those 5 villages on. Well, he's gone for 3 military barracks. This is a decision you should make when you see what your opponent's doing. As we see a very indecisive, I should say, decision there from Lordi trying to make all the units under the sun. But basically, Odin can afford to build Ulfsark and throwing axemen for a little bit in the early stages of the game. And that helps you play against the early double military barracks. But if you go for a counter barracks, if the Oranos goes for a counter barracks, you just want to go for mass Ulfsark, basically. As units starting to push out here, the Valkyrie retreating back home for the time being. The Ulfsark are coming out. Lone Wanderer is going to be coming through here as well for Lordi. I think he's going to be kicking himself for that extra longhouse at this point. He definitely could be taking villages off of wood now and coming over here onto this hunt down the bottom. Having a ton of hunt here. I do love the idea of going like raiding cavalry, Ulfsark here if you've got the hunt. Idea being you just leave 2 villages on like a straggler tree to get yourself the houses up. And the rest move over onto the zebra down here. Which is potentially not what we're seeing. We're actually seeing go into the herdables, which is kind of a similar idea, but we'll see if it's going to work out for him or not. As now, with Lone Wanderer, the Ulfsarks can start moving out with the Valkyrie. And Medium Ulfsark is in. So a very, very clean start here for Lordi. He's definitely practiced this one. But Tigerboss is taking it slow, and he's decided, you know what? I'm just going to build myself some Caraballister straight off the bat. Why not? Tigerboss is at 69 population compared to 56 population for Lordi at this point. As units do get spotted over here. A little bit of an engagement here. Lordi's not going to be wanting to take this with the Caraballister there, and he does end up losing 1 Ulfsark after all is said and done. As the Ulfsark going to be searching around for something to kill here. Mana coming up on this position by Tigerboss as well. As the Citizen moving forward. And looks like Tigerboss is wanting to get a town center. And with the Caraballister out, this actually makes a lot of sense. Because, well, I mean, it looks like Lordi's macro has come a little bit off the chains here. I think if you go 7 dwarves, you actually want to go gather a dwarf. Otherwise, your gold still is going to be exploding here. If you just want to go gatherers, you're kind of better off going like 5 or 4 dwarves in all honesty, and the rest go onto food to afford everything. But the town center going up on this position with the Caraballister, generally speaking, you can't really engage the Caraballister, so it's going to be really tough to stop that. But Lordi here is looking like he's going for a semi-fast heroic after all is said and done, which we've seen this done by Rappel time and time again, where he basically just goes for the heroic age. He'll click Frost onto the army. He kills the army, and he finds himself clicking Ragnarok soon after. It'll be very, very tough to defend. As the armory now coming up in the main base. Lordi's still distracting around. He will be seeing the town center. Well, has he seen the town center? Yes, he knows the town center's going up. But there's no real problems there. As a shockwave coming onto this position, villagers coming through. A bit of a forest fire here as well to help the units move through here and get out alive. But as Skadi is coming through, we're going to start seeing those Ulfsarks starting out again. I wouldn't mind seeing some raiding cavalry getting produced as well here to deal with those Caraballister a little bit easier, though he probably doesn't need it with the Frost. Is he just building 1 Ulfsark? No, building 2 Ulfsarks. He could get 3 here as well. He's got all the villages on the hunt in the world to pump units out, completely getting up to full population here. As Lordi retreats back home here. At the moment, more Ulfsark coming through as the Caraballister. They're not able to hit these Ulfsark if they're at full speed. So unless the Murmillo can snare them with an attack, Caraballister will miss. And Lordi is just simply happily running through here. He looks like he's actually just going to go straight for the Mythic Age. And funnily enough, if he has Frost, so he probably can make this work. This is kind of wild. Wait, what did he spend resources on then? I don't know. A town center? Oh, he's... I don't like the town center at this point. As the units are now going to start looking for raids here. We do see a third town center coming up for Tigerboss on this position. As this hero citizen jukes away from getting spotted there. As Lordi going to be retreating back, trying to find out where that citizen is. Must have had some sort of a line of sight of that. The citizen is just running straight for the defensive position over here. The Raven spotting the town center coming up on this spot. As the villagers, this is a nightmare for Lordi, get spotted on this location. He's going to be losing one villager. Two villagers going down. The villagers trying to retreat away. We do see the Frost Giant coming in to clean up that Oracle. But another villager falling. 4 villagers, 5 villagers going down. Well, that would be 5 villagers if this one falls. 2 HP remaining. Huge play for Tigerboss after all is said and done. As the Ulfsark going after this mana, but the Kyribalis in position with the Watchtower here to boot. And Naval getting dropped onto this position to try and take out a Frost Giant. As Lordi's town center is now up. He has this food over here. As Lordi's got to be kicking himself for greeting onto those crowned crane or onto those hippopotamus in the corner when he had all of this hunt over here that he could have come and grabbed, which was completely safe. There's the Prometheans chasing the units away, but Lordi going to be retreating back home, or at least he should. So many Promethean out for Tigerboss here as he's going to be able to go to that next stage fairly shortly here. Is now the Termina going to be able to hit this location very shortly. And I mean, I just think if Lordi had gone full population and just frosted the army, he'd be in a much better position. One villager does get picked off. Nice find there for Lordi, but he loses an Ulfsark for it or 2. As the units come through here, going to attempt to defend on this position. As it looks like the Heroic Age has come through for Tigerboss through Hyperion here. Obviously, Curse always going to be a very, very helpful god power in this matchup to either pick off a Frost Giant or pick off a Fire Giant. Can always be very, very useful. So does Lordi have a market? He has a market in his main base, and he will be trying to get that Mythic Age out for a very, very simple Ragnarok in this game. But just using Ragnarok, is that going to be enough? Is the big question. Did I say Curse? Chaos. Chaos. It's all the same thing. They're basically the same god power. They do the same thing. One turns one to pigs, one turns one to Gaia. It's all the same. Come on, guys. Stay with me here. This Balder has been clicked up here by Lordi. And the question is, will Tigerboss be able to defend a 41 population Ragnarok with Frost? As the army now moving in onto this position, if Lordi can get both of these armies to be close enough together to frost them both, he should be able to win these fights. As we see the Chaos getting dropped onto this location, the units retreating away. He's going to try and drag all of these units together for a frost, and I think he has managed to do so. As he clicks that one down, the unit's trying to retreat away, and he does not get out of there. As Balder is 40% until finishing. 103 population here for Lordi, trying to pump out those Ulfsark as best as he can with the throw and axeman as well. That's a that's going to help him out. Getting full population here at the end of this frost and clicking Ragnarok is as all in as it gets, but sometimes you've got to go all in to win with that Ragnarok against the Oranos here. As the Kyribalis are going to get taken down on that position here. We do see some walls attempting to come in here, but there's already some units in to deny that. As it looks like the units won't be able to retreat here as Balder does hit. 37 favor in the bank here. 6 population remaining here. Not 6 population, 6 seconds remaining on that frost. As the unit's sitting over here, not active here just yet, as Tigerboss going to be retreating back. Tigerboss with enough resources to advance to the next age here, as Ragnarok does indeed get clicked. Thank you for the 3 months, Crispy. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for the continued support. As Lordi comes through with his Rag heroes to take out this army, Tigerboss needs to make a decision now. Does he go with Mythic Age, or does he just stay in this Heroic Age and get himself upgrades? Because he could get himself Copper Mail, he could get himself Bronze Mail, he could get himself Copper Weapons, he could get himself Archer upgrades, and just pump buildings out everywhere in an effort to defend. We do see a palace coming up on this position. There is no upgrades for Tigerboss's town center here as the army fighting off on this position, but it looks like those heroes of Ragnarok are going to be more than enough to clean up those heavy Murmillo there. As the palace coming through onto this position, the units bashing down the town center as Masons comes through at the very end here to help keep that town center and those buildings alive a little bit longer. With the palace coming up, he's not going to be able to build anything too useful out of it. As the Rag heroes come through, they see the gold mine on this position here. The palace being up on this position means the gold mine is going to be secured to some degree. Other gold mines on the map, there is one over here as well that Tigerboss can go and grab, but he will be losing this town center. Lordi is at 180, 130 population now as he's trying to push through. Those Archers doing a lot of good damage, but the best play here for Tigerboss is to retreat and make sure his archers are dealing damage without being attacked. You can take damage with the melee units, but the archers, they want to be dealing damage from afar. As the Tigerboss units now pushing in to try and push off this gold mine over here. The Ravens checking out the gold on this location as some citizens have snuck through on this location. They could potentially sneak this gold mine over here. There's really not a whole lot of gold on the map here. As Tigerboss has still got plenty of resources in the bank as the army of Lordi tries to push through, tries to push off that gold mine. More barracks coming down in the main base for Tigerboss here. As the building's getting cleaned up over here, but Tigerboss is just defending this really nicely at this point as Lordi's got himself 160 population remaining. He's got his fire giant on this position, and I'm sure there's going to be a chaos sooner or later in this game to hit that fire giant, and that's going to put a stop, unless it hits the frost giant, which would be less than ideal. As Tigerboss is happily sitting back here, just biding his time. No fortified town centers, but it has been started researching after the citizen fall, so that's going to help him stay alive here as the wall segments are up on this tower to stop the push through, but one fire giant will be able to take that down relatively quickly. Now, still not available here as Tigerboss trying to hold on this position as one citizen looks like it will be getting taken out here. Nice play from Lordi to stop that military barracks from coming up as units coming back through over onto this position to try and break through the wall. The Ark is able to push that back. And honestly, Tigerboss has just gathered too many resources here. 144 of 130 population remaining here for Lordi as he's still trying to push through, but Tigerboss is still gathering resources all over the place. In fact, he's eating hunt on this front location. He could even grab this town center if he so chooses here, as his home town center is starting to get targeted down, trying to pump out units out of all of those military buildings here. He's not losing too many units here. Chaos does get dropped down, and it hits a fire giant and not the frost giant, which is gigantic here. Lordi can use this frost giant to just move over and hit the fire giant now. Fortified town centers comes through in the nick of time there to keep himself alive. The units over here getting taken down, and it seems like Tigerboss has held after all is said and done. As the fire giant does get taken down, and Lordi has to retreat back. The town center on this location going up with 5 citizen here. Villagers have started coming out for Lordi. He's putting them over onto the gold, but 5 villagers versus 25 citizen. It's a bit of a gap here to come back for Lordi after all is said and done. This defense from a Tigerboss has been on point. As the Toxotes pushing forward here, trying to snipe down the rest of those units as this town center is coming up. Will the red units remaining be able to spot that and stop this from coming up? You have to remember, this is recency bias. I actually haven't seen Ragnarok. It shines when IPK in the chat saying Rag seems to fail more than when it works these days. But honestly, against Atlantean, in the Champions League at the very least, I think this is the first Ragnarok that's failed. Ragnarok has been beating Oranos players. Has been finishing Oranos players off more often than not through this tournament. That's my memory. That's my recollection of this. As Lordi does indeed decide to tap out, he sees the third town center up and he realizes, I really haven't done any damage. And Tigerboss claims the first win here. A really, really well played game by by Tigerboss here, showing that you can kind of just sit back on this in this heroic age against an early Ragnarok and find the win. The thing that the Odin players are doing in the Champions League compared to what Lordi did here was basically when they hit the heroic age, they go full pop, they look for a frost in the army, they kill that army off, and then they go Ragnarok. That way, the Oranos players to spend more resources on repopulating the army, and they don't have all those extra resources to get upgrades and everything else. But really well played by Tigerboss. If you guys enjoyed the game, please consider hitting follow on Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.